Thought about that statement and I just loved it. I give good wife because people brag on a lot of things, but they don't really brag about the way that they love another person, their ability to be selfless, to be caring, to be nurturing, supportive, these kinds of things. You hear women today, and they're all out there. You can find endless videos of people bragging about their physical appearance, or people bragging about how much money they have or how many things they've accumulated when it comes to material possessions, but you don't hear people really bragging about how much they love and how they have an ability to give and to love. And what made this comment so special when this woman said this is that, number one, she was coming from a place of sincerity and genuineness. I give good wife. And I said to myself, you know what? I want that. I want that t shirt. I don't want to just have it on display, but I want to live that. I want that to be a testimony. You know, when I was married, I was a very loving person and I supported through a lot of things. But I will say there did come a time when uh, things changed, and that changed. And also, being married so young at 19, there were definitely periods of me being immature and growing as a person, and falling and making mistakes and all those things. But you get to a place where you become uh, a person who is a woman, a person who's mature, a person who thinks differently. And I believe you behave differently. So as I was thinking about, what does that statement mean? I give good wife. I give good wife. I started looking through some different articles and different things about what it means to men to have a good wife. And I came across an article, which I'm also going to try to put in the description as well, to link in the description. Um, and it was on a Forbes list, but this list is actually a couple years old, quite a few years old. But I loved the way it put things, and so I wanted to share with you some of the top 5 things that men said they look for in a wife. So I'm going to start with 5 and work my way down to the number one. What was number one on the list? Which, well, before I go there, I'll just say number 5 was a pleasing disposition. And as I was going through these different lists, these different qualifications and characteristics that men look for, I started thinking about today and what I see in media and what I see, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or all these things, what women are heralding versus what men say they actually want. And to tell you the truth, there are discrepancies there. The things that women brag about are often not the things that men say that they want and are looking for. And so as I go through this list, hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. So number 5 was a pleasing disposition. A pleasing disposition. I don't care what race of women you want to talk about. People will say a lot of things about black women or African American women. But if you look on social media, you will see things for women of all races where you can see bad behavior on display, where you can see people cussing people out, or, just doing the most disrespectful things. So I can see how wanting to be with someone who has a pleasing disposition would be an attractive characteristic. And so we have to think about that too. I always say, you don't want to just know how people love, you want to know how they fight too. And the reason why I say that is because some people have boundaries and some people do not. Some people will be upset and angry, but they won't cuss you out. They won't, use profanity, as I like to say. It's the same thing. They won't call you out of your name. They won't put their hands on you. They won't get in your face. They won't do these things. And some people do. So these are things that are important. And so having a pleasing disposition, yeah, you want to be with somebody who is happy, who makes you feel joyful, who makes you feel peaceful. That's important. Number 4 on the list was education and intelligence. I think education has always been attractive. Intelligence has always been attractive, but we haven't always been afforded the opportunity to have like secondary education and things of that nature, just because of the cost and things like that. But people want to know that you can hold on and hold an intelligent conversation, that you can carry on a conversation, and to see how thoughtful or introspective you are, if you actually process different things. And I personally, intelligence is incredibly attractive to me. I love, you know, I'm talking with my significant other about different things and having different perspectives. I love sometimes, when we challenge each other's views on things and stuff like that. So, and I love being able to learn from someone, being able to glean from the man that I'm in a relationship with. That's important, being able to glean from them. I love that they might know about certain things that I might not be familiar with, and that I might be familiar with certain things they might not have thought about. So I think it's a good interchange there. Emotional stability and maturity. I'm going to be honest. When I got married at 19, I thought I was mature, but I'm going to be honest. I was 19. Um, I was responsible in a lot of ways, and I tried to think intelligently about things, and I tried to, when I didn't know certain things, I tried to ask for knowledge or wisdom from like my grandmother or my aunt or my dad, and people in my life who were older and had more experience. But there were times when I was definitely emotional, and I'm going to be honest, I learned a lot of things from my mom growing up and seeing her, and some of those things were not the best things, I'm going to be honest. But there are a lot of good characteristics that I believe I got from my mom too. My mom was a survivor, and I feel like I learned from her how to survive. um, Dependable character. So that's number 2 on the list, having a dependable character. I've been having conversations lately um, with males and females about this, but in a different way. Something um, someone had said was, I'm afraid of your decision making abilities. When people talk about, well, why did you do that? You didn't learn from that, or why did you, you know, these are things that are important to both men and women. But for men, through talking with a friend of mine months and months ago, I realized, how men feel like the decisions that their significant other makes really reflects on them. It kind of speaks to who they are, even in choosing this person as a spouse. And I want to say this because I kind of want to say it in a way that really kind of makes it understandable. So I had a friend, and he was talking about how he was dating a woman, and how she was talking to him about when she was seeing someone else before, and how that person had taken advantage of her. They had asked her to give them, a certain amount of money, and she had given it to him. And then she found out that he was kind of like cheating on her or something. And I don't know, somehow they still got back together, but then he asked her for money again, and it was even more money than it was the last time. And she gave it to him, and then he kind of like ghosted her or something in this situation. And he was saying that even though he really liked her and they had spent time together, um, it was, he didn't have the same level of confidence or respect, I guess, in her when he found that out. And the way he explained it was sort of like, he said, I could be, I could be with her and I see this dude and he could be looking at me like, yeah, sort of like looking down on him because, yeah, I had your woman. I took advantage of her. I mistreated her. So it was almost like he felt like this person could look down on him for being with this woman, and how that could sort of bring like reproach to him. That's for, he didn't use those words, but that's the best way I know how to describe it. It's sort of like a reproach. And a reproach is, in other words, this person can say or think ill of you because of what their interaction was with the person that you're with. And so, um, as I listened to him and I processed that, I was like, wow, that that's something. That is really something. It kind of gave me an understanding, from a male perspective, that I was not thinking about. So some of you may feel like, oh, that's simple. I already know that or whatever. But in truth, um, I find that men have become increasingly aware and concerned about how that woman's actions reflect on them. Now, some men don't care. If they don't care about you, if they're just, wanting to have sex with you, they're not going to care about that kind of thing. It might not make that bit of a difference. But this is a huge thing when it's a good man with a good character and who has good intentions towards you. So it's just food for thought, food for thought. And like I said, you may not agree with me, you can disagree. We're just sharing. I'm just sharing. I'm sharing some wisdom, I'm sharing some understanding, I'm sharing some knowledge. But it's, your opinion might be different. So, of course, on to the number one thing on the list. The number one thing on the list is, they look for mutual attraction and love. Mutual attraction and love. So those things might seem like, oh yeah, that I figure that. But I want you to think differently, because physical attraction, of their mate was something that was further down the line, because it's come up in recent years. But the truth is, we always, and I say as women, we often, kind of characterize men as going for the woman that they feel is the most physically attractive. But it's not really just that. It is that there is a mutual attraction. In other words, I want you to be just as crazy about me as I am about you. I want you to want me just like I want you. I want you to desire me the way I desire you. Men want these things too. And sometimes that's why physical attraction isn't, it's not just about that, because they can be with someone who's physically attractive, but she may not desire them the way that they desire her. She may not want them the way that they want her. And so men want someone who is equally attractive to them, and or attracted to them, and they want someone who knows how to show, that desire, that passion. So they want that. So basically, when it comes to mutual attraction and love, love to me, when you're talking about men, it goes hand in hand with loyalty. Men look for loyalty. And some of the things that I've been seeing lately, um, there's a lot of people out there, male and female, doing ratchet stuff. But I keep seeing these commentaries of women talking about how they're with men, and the men think that the children are theirs, or the child is theirs and it's not, and it's a friend or it's a cousin or is whoever. It's not theirs. And they seem to be okay with lying about these things, and having these men support them and support these children. and they know that it's really a lie that they're believing, and they act as though they're within their rights to do these things. And so I don't know what all is happening today, but I share these things because I'm all about change. I'm all about changing the narrative. I'm all about us living happier lives and better lives and living healthier lives. And that also means having healthy relationships. And so this was my thought for today. And I just wanted to, give food for you to think about, and maybe even in comparison, because I do that too. I always look at my life, I always look at the story of my life, I always look at the different chapters and relationships and friendships and things that I've had, because I'm always trying to learn how to do better, how to be better. So these are my thoughts I'm sharing with you for today. I hope you have received something of good sound insight, and please feel free to like, to share, to subscribe, and to comment, because I'd love to know your thoughts. So have a happy life and a better life, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.